Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the top stories. 4 new cases and 1 death. Over 15,000 dead in Latin America because of the COVID-19. Hello and welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, extended his warm congratulations to his re-elected counterpart in Togo, Mr. Faure Gnassingbe, who was elected last Monday, the winner of the presidential election in that country, which took place on February 22nd. In a congratulatory telegram sent to his re-elected counterpart, the President of the Republic hailed a resounding victory, an undeniable sign of the popular support that the Togolese people have for the political leadership of Mr. Faure Gnassingbe. The triumphant score that disposed to your election offers you all the legitimacy to endorse the project that you deem useful for the well-being of your compatriots and the development of your country, wrote President Guelleh, reiterating to Mr. Faure Gnassingbe his wish of success and prosperity. Continued to succeed him in the Togolese presidential election of 22nd February. Mr. Faure Gnassingbe had 6 other challengers. He was elected in the first round with more than 70% of the votes cast. Now another subject, the National Assembly, through its Parliamentary Commission for the Accompaniment and Monitoring of the Fight Against COVID-19 has started today. Its calendar of interviews, meetings and hearings with representatives of different offices and institutions involved in the national response to the pandemic. In line with its overall mission of parliamentary information and control, the above-mentioned body, through its president, Dr. Ahmed Roble Adile, and its fellow members have invited the mayor of Djibouti and the president of the 3 communal constituencies of the capital. The mayor, Mrs. Fatuma Awal Osman, Mr. Aden Mohamed Hamid, Mr. Mohamed Omar Ismail, and Mr. Ibrahim Said Badur, respectively, president of the communes of Balbala, Bulaus, and Ras Dika, responded to the invitation of the national representation to assist to the COVID-19 Commission of their contract and experience in the epidemiological situation that has recently struck our country. The audience for more than 2 hours engaged in a consequent and rich dialogue on issues such as the degree of involvement of local elected officials in the fight against this disease, such as the distribution of public food assistance. Now, concerning the data of COVID-19 in Djibouti, this Wednesday, 6th May 2020, we have 160 tests were performed, 4 cases positive to COVID-19. 10 cases cured, and today we deplored the 3rd death since the beginning of the COVID-19 epidemic in Djibouti. This is a 64-year-old patient with multiple comorbidities. After more than a month of epidemic, the balance is as follows. 14,538 tests were performed, 1,120 positive cases, 755 are confirmed cured. We deplore in total 3 deaths. Unfortunately, remain vigilant and respect all the measures that have been taken. And now the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Property of Waqf, His Excellency Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, met this morning with all Jewish artists at the People's Palace to highlight the role they played throughout the period of confinement caused by COVID-19. The Minister expressed satisfaction at the success and effectiveness of the measures taken by the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to deal with this pandemic that has shaken the world wide. He also stressed the importance of the adherence of all the national strategy implemented by the government and to ensuring surge of solidarity, marking the collective contribution to stop the spread of this virus. Thereafter, the floor was given to the deans of artists, namely Aden Farah Samatar and Hamadou Dabel, who wished to congratulate the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, for the wise initiatives taken to mobilize all means to fight against COVID-19 and save the lives of our citizens. The minister expressed optimism that the next phase of deconfinement will be gradual and focused. He reviewed the action carried out by all artists. In this particular context, he thanked them for their patriotism and their active participation in raising public awareness through the production of songs, sketches, and poems broadcast on Djibouti radio and television station and on social network, while taking part in leading debates in television program. In conclusion, the minister reiterated his thanks to the artists and Djiboutian while urging them to remain in solidarity with the population and to develop their artistic creation and religious singing, particularly during this blessed month of Ramadan. The director of the CAMME, Dr. Ahmed Hussein, has received a donation of several batches of medical equipment from the NGO CSSW, represented by its general manager, Mr. Rashad Qasim Abdullah. This equipment is intended to better fight against the spread of coronavirus disease, composed of gloves, masks, wheelchairs, disinfectant gel, and safety glasses. These devices are intended for medical personnel to comply with the standards enforced to avoid any risk of contamination. After thanking the NGO CSSW, the Director of Central Purchasing Office for Essential Meds and Materials indicated that this precious donation will enable its services involved in the fight against this disease to better control the pandemic. And now a team composed of Chinese experts went to the CNSS on their arrival. The team was welcomed by the head of Department of Health Institution of the CNSS, Mr. Gile Yusuf, the chief doctor of the CNSS, Dr. Abdinur Abdi. It should be recalled that this team, led by the advisor of the Minister of Health, Mr. Abdul Qadir Mohammed Garad, is composed of specialists in infectiology, respiratory problems, as well as experts in the field of epidemiology. The Chinese delegation listened to the explanation of the medical manager throughout the guided tour of the various departments, such as the emergency room, the pharmacy, and the laboratory, as well as the department dedicated to the management of COVID-19. On the sidelines of this guided visit to the CNSS, the Chinese delegation had a meeting with the director, Mrs. Addeqa Ahmed Roble, and the senior staff of the CNSS. During this meeting, the director presented their activities in response to the coronavirus pandemic to their Chinese counterparts. For their part, the Chinese medical experts shared their experiences on the treatment of COVID-19. They also answered various questions on the prevention and control of the epidemic, detection of the virus, and the treatment of patients. Now, the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf Property organized yesterday afternoon a reading session of the Holy Quran and a dua in the Al-Tawheed Mosque in the capital of city of Obok. The initiative is part of the minister's effort to combat the coronavirus pandemic, which is still ravaging many countries around the world. The event was attended by representatives of the ministry, the Sheikh Al-Wali Imam of the mosque, the second deputy prefect, Mr. Amin Shamsan Sabah, and the acting chairman of the regional council, Mr. Ahmed Ali Sheikh. It should be recalled that the ministry has stepped up awareness campaigns against COVID-19 in all mosques of the capital and the interior region. Now, the health crisis that our country is experiencing due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the difficulties related to the Ramadan fast do not seem to stop the criminals who use them in their favor. Indeed, over the course of several months, the various brigades of the Djibouti company have registered complaints of vehicle theft. A total of 5 vehicles of different makes were stolen. The modus operandi is always the same. The vehicle is stolen without breaking and entering during the night and then abandoned where the fuel fails. Some vehicles have been used to commit other acts of extortion on female cat seller. Faced with this misdeed, the Judicial Group Command decided to centralize the case of the 6 and 7 Brigade while providing human and material means to solve this series of theft. On this basis, a large-scale operation was launched by the investigator, which resulted in the identification of the members of this mafia gang. It is in the morning of May 3, 2020 at 6 a.m., that an operation of simultaneous arrest on several sites was launched by investigators of the Brigade of District 6 and 7, reinforced by the gendarmes of a mobile group in order to arrest the 7 alleged perpetrators of these cases. During the various search, 3 master keys were found in the perpetrator's home, which had been used to start the stolen vehicles. The technical investigation carried out by the gendarme of the Criminal Identification Brigade showed, in turn, that the situation caused by the master keys corresponded to those found on the ignition hole. Confronted by irrefutable material evidence, the several alleged perpetrators acknowledged the charge of robberies in an organized gang and aggravated extortion. The High Command of the Gendarmerie reminds the population that despite the commitment of its units in the context of exceptional measures to fight the pandemic linked to COVID-19, the gendarmes will spare no effort to ensure the safety of people and property. Moving now on the international news, Latin America and Caribbean surpassed the 15,000 mark for coronavirus death on Wednesday, 6 May. This region of the world, where the pandemic is expected to peak in the coming days, has recorded more than 282,000 cases of COVID-19. Brazil is the most affected country with 7,921 deaths and 114,715 affected. The country has also recorded 6,935 new confirmed cases of infection and 600 additional deaths in the last 24 hours, a record number of deaths in one day since the epidemic broke out in the country on 26 February. Newcomb, Mexico, 2,200 deaths and 24,000 cases. In Ecuador, 1,531 cases. Several countries such as Ecuador, Colombia, and the Dominican Republic have therefore decided to extend containment measures to prevent the spread of the pandemic. On the contrary, parts of Brazil have begun processes of deconfinement. The Pan American Health Organization called on the government to be cautious in relaxing their measures and warned that transmission was still high in Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, and Mexico. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful night.